Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the channel, and we have some AOV news today. We have the patch notes. The Garena patch notes says March 27th, but they actually didn't get released until March 28th. And we've got some exciting changes here, so let's get to it. It looks like we have got a full adjustment for Darcy. It says we have removed the parts of Darcy's skills that were difficult to understand and fight against, and at the same time optimized some of Darcy's own pain points. We hope that this adjustment will not only improve the ease of use of his skill set, but also increase his strength. So one of the things that, this is kind of a big change, his passive dimensional force. Previously, he could gain energy off of normal attacks, and that would dissipate over time, and that energy evidently builds up to unlock some of his abilities. Well, this energy accumulation mechanism will no longer dissipate. So each normal attack and skill hit, he accumulates 10 points of energy, and it will not gradually be lost after leaving battle. Skill 1, the characteristics of untargetable and iron body were removed, and the damage immunity provided is increased from 30 to 50%. So untargetable and iron body, he's a little more squishy in that aspect, but damage immunity is raised to 50%. So he's still got some immunity or some damage resistance there. Then ultimate dimensional portal. The mark of the ultimate will no longer be removed by cleansing. So that's interesting. It looks like in previous times you could cleanse the mark. So here's what it is. Whenever he uses his ultimate, he marks a target, and cleanse no longer removes that mark. Cleanse can still keep you from being affected once it's activated, so you have some timing there where you can actually use Purifier Cleanse and avoid the pull, but you can't avoid the target altogether. And then the stun duration was dropped to 0.5 seconds instead of 0.75. And he can also teleport without having an enemy mark. So that makes his ultimate a little more useful because he doesn't have to have an active target to use that. Yan has been nerfed. His S2 ability, base damage, has been reduced, and the damage reduction has been reduced as well. So his skill 2 is the little swoopy dash that he does. And it says compared with the first skill, the second skill combines mobility, damage immunity, and good damage output, which makes Yan's choice of strengthening skills a bit biased. Now we are trying to correct that. So you'd always upgrade S2 first so that you can get that cooldown lower. But right now, they're hoping that you'll upgrade his abilities similarly, but I think you're still going to upgrade S2 because you do want that dash. Just because it does less damage doesn't mean anything. The mobility part of it is actually the important part. I actually played a little Yan before the nerf and then played a little after, and you can feel it. Even in the jungle, clearing the jungle as part of my rotation seemed a little slower, so you can definitely feel that. Fennik has been buffed, and it says in the last revamp his values were too conservative, making his strength lower than expected. Now we're strengthening his basic performance as an archer, hoping to get his strength back on track. So they've increased his range of normal attacks by 0.25 meters, and they've increased his attack speed after skill 1 by a little bit. So that's going to be an interesting buff to Fennik. We'll see how he plays. I actually played a little Fennik prior to the patch, and again, he did feel like his S1 wasn't even important anymore. Almost, it was kind of a really weird feeling. So we'll see how this does for him. Capheny's getting a buff in order to cope with the increasingly dangerous battlefield environment. Rapid shot damage is increased, pulse shot damage is increased, so she's getting buffs. Marja is getting a buff. It says there is no need for the Queen of the Abyss to leave her winning rate in the Abyss. So she evidently was tanking a little bit, but so the skill 1 base damage is being increased. The ultimate damage is being increased as well, so she's getting some buffs there. We'll have to try some of her a little later. And Zuka's marked as a buff, but I'm not necessarily sure I would classify it as a buff. It looks like he had some trouble crossing the walls with skill 1 and skill 2. When they were at max distance, he couldn't get over some walls. So they've just optimized that for a little bit extra mobility for Zuka. Here's one that a lot of people might be interested in. I don't know how much it's going to do, how much good it's going to do, but optimization of the reporting system. The reporting logic has been optimized, and every player who does not take the game seriously will be judged more strictly. Players who are suspected of playing passively will receive an email notification and be monitored after being reported. If reported again, they will receive corresponding punishments. Now, this playing passively could be defined as a few other things, and playing passively could actually be a factor of just being out-leveled, being behind in the game. So I don't know how good of a system or upgrade this is going to be, but it is what they've done, and so we'll see how it plays out over time. And then bug fixes fixed the bug that special effect color of the first skill of Elsu's Vermilion Bird was too dim, so they brightened up some of Elsu's effect colors. And so that's it. Not too much going on in the patch this time, just a little balances for a few heroes. We're still expecting the Beta 45 patch at the end of April, maybe the beginning of May. That'll bring some big changes to the game, so stay tuned for future changes and just enjoy the game as it's played. We're still having a lot of fun playing. I appreciate everybody's time today, and I will see you all on the battlefield.